I've been a software engineer for 4 years, and this is everything that I wish I knew before I became a developer, so that hopefully you can learn these lessons now before you become a developer and not make some of the same mistakes that I did to get there faster and easier and with less stress. So for context, around 5-ish years ago, I was working in banking. I was doing an internship in this industry, which I thought that I really wanted to get into. I was an economics student, the typical person going into finance. But doing this job made me realize that this was not at all what I wanted to do. I completely hated the job. It was super stressful, and I just did not want the life of the superiors and the people above me in this company. So this got me into thinking about what do I want to do instead. And long story short, I ended up learning to code because to me, the coding industry and the software engineering industry represented most of the things that I wanted from my life without most of the things that I didn't want. It seemed like an intellectually interesting career. It seemed like a work environment that wouldn't be nearly as stressful, a lot more chilled, but it still had very high compensation. So I ended up learning to code, and about a year after that, I landed my first job. Then later, I left that job as a corporate software developer to actually run my own company as well as a software engineer. So I have kind of experience from both the corporate environment of being a software engineer and also from actually running my own tech company. So I hope that this can give you a very well-rounded idea of what it actually means to work both in a large company as a very junior developer to also being a more senior developer in a more startup-like environment. The first lesson is that the job is 30% coding and 70% everything else. So there's this idea that software development looks like you frantically coding on a computer, like some hacker that you have seen in a movie or something like that. But in reality, most of your time is not actually spent coding. Most of your time is spent, number one, reading code rather than writing code. Number two, on debugging and kind of looking for where the issue is in your code. Number three, meetings, writing Slack messages, doing different kinds of reviews and things like that. And number four, most importantly, actually, is thinking. So a lot of the time when I'm working on my startup, I'm not actually even typing. I'm kind of thinking in my head about architecture. Okay, what should I code? And most of the time, 90% of the value is actually in deciding what to code rather than actually writing the code. Especially now with AI, by the way, because AI can actually write the code extremely easily. But this is also the reason why AI will not replace humans, because most of the value of a human developer already came from all of these other things that I just described, rather than just a part of writing code. So this is where I see a lot of beginners making mistakes. They make the mistake of focusing a lot on the syntax, of actually figuring out how do you write an API request, like being very tunnel focused on the specifics of how to code stuff, rather than zooming out and looking at the big picture and focusing on understanding concepts. This is the biggest thing that I would tell any beginner. Don't focus too much on this specific code syntax, because coding is not actually most of the job. Most of the job is thinking, it is understanding. So focus on understanding concepts and you'll be a much better engineer, not just a coder, because this is what separates software engineers from just people who can write code. Lesson number two, most of what you learn in courses or university are completely irrelevant at work. Now, this is not to say that getting a degree is completely useless. I think a lot of the specifics that you learn there are not particularly applicable at work, probably like 90% of it. Now, I myself did not get a computer science degree, but I did study a lot of computer science on my own, and it is, by the way, quite interesting. I think it's extremely fascinating actually to learn about computer science and a lot of the theory behind algorithms. I found it quite enjoyable, but if I'm just looking at this from the perspective of learning the most useful things for being a good software engineer, a lot of that was not actually useful at all. And most of it I've actually forgotten because I've never actually used it in my 4 years of being a developer. So this is not to say that you shouldn't learn it, because it's in some cases useful to have this background knowledge, and in certain specific niches of development, like if you want to become a machine learning engineer or something like that, it can be valuable. And obviously the piece of paper of having a degree from a top university, if you have the opportunity to do that, can be valuable. So if you are doing a degree, you don't need to stop it, but just understand that to become a great engineer, you need to be doing different things. You need to be building real projects. You need to be actually hands-on, actually coding stuff if you want to become a great programmer. And as a side note, this is actually a major reason that pushed me to create my own program because I saw that there was such a better way to actually learn software engineering in a much more efficient way compared to spending 4 years in a university degree doing all these useless things. Because sure, again, if you have that piece of paper, it's going to be useful, but is it so useful that it's worth spending 4 years and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars? You'll probably be able to land a job and build overall a much more successful career faster if you do it the self-taught way versus doing the university degree route. Especially, again, because you don't need a lot of stuff from that degree anyway. Lesson number 3, non-technical skills can really supercharge your career. What I really learned early on in this industry is that, and this is gonna annoy a lot of people, a lot of programmers are complete nerds that don't have any human skills. There's so many talented technical people that understand programming extremely well. They're much smarter than me when it comes to the actual technical details, but then they fall completely short when it comes to the human skills. And this actually prevents a lot of very talented technical people from landing jobs, because when it comes to an interview, they aren't just testing your technical skills, they are also testing your non-technical skills. How are you actually to work with as a human? Can you talk to an interviewer like a normal human? Are you gonna be able to communicate? These are all the things that they look for that unfortunately a lot of technical people completely lack. And this is probably one of the reasons why I was able to land a job so quickly while I still had much less technical skills than a lot of other people, because when I was talking to the people at this company in an interview, I was able to impress them just with my ability to communicate, just with my ability to really kind of sell myself, sell my motivation and my passion to actually learn about this stuff. In general, people want to work with people. So you want to make sure that you don't neglect actually building your soft skills as well as your technical skills. Lesson number 4, the best engineers don't know everything, but they can figure anything out. Most engineers don't know everything. They don't have every possible thing that you can build with programming in their brains. But what they do have is that they have the ability to figure it out as and when they need to. The thing about programming is that there's so much stuff out there, so much stuff that you can know, that you can learn. It's impossible for anyone to know all of it. But what's important is that you have the ability and kind of the confidence that you will always be able to figure it out when you need to. Anytime I need to build something for my startup, almost every time there is something in there that is new that I haven't done before in my 4 years of being a developer. And I know 4 years isn't even that long. There's a lot of people who have been developers for much, much longer, and even they still have to look things up. They have to figure out, okay, how does this actually work? But the best developers are the ones that whatever task you're thrown, you are able to figure it out. You're able to go on Google, you're able to go on ChatGPT, you're able to just figure out how does this work, figure out first a high-level understanding of how does this work from a high-level perspective, and then you can find out the specific syntax by reading documentation, and to be honest, nowadays by using a lot of AI. This is really what it means to be a great developer, that if I'm a senior developer and you're a junior developer, I can give you whatever task and you don't need to know how to do it immediately. No one cares if you know how to do it immediately, but I can trust that you have the ability to think, that you are enough of a self-starter, you can go and figure it out on your own without me needing to hold your hand. So keep that in mind and just have the confidence to know that any task in programming, there is information out there about it on the internet. There's going to be documentation. There's going to be AI that can help you. You're always going to be able to figure it out. And with just this one mindset alone, you're going to get so far as a developer. And sadly, a lot of beginners especially, they don't have this confidence because they think that if they haven't done something before, they can't possibly do it. And they just kind of give up. But that is not what being a developer is about at all. It's about just having the skills of figuring things out. Lesson number 5, the best engineers are lazy. In a good way. If you look at the best developers when they're working, they actually look extremely lazy. It looks like they're almost doing nothing because they're actually so efficient and so good at doing the job that they don't need to work extremely hard. So this is why it makes sense to just spend time up front to learn a lot of the high-level stuff and learn how to use the right tools to make your job as efficiently as possible, so that then when you are working, you don't actually need to spend that much time. And the best developers do this. They are lazy. They look for the easiest and fastest ways of getting things done so that they can actually produce a lot of output without necessarily working that hard. That's not to say that you shouldn't work hard if you need to. This is not a moral judgment on, oh, working hard is bad or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there is nothing wrong with looking for faster and easier ways to do things, and the best developers do exactly that. And lesson number 6 is that software engineering is actually very low stress compared to many other careers. And a lot of people are gonna get very mad at me for saying that, because if you've been an engineer for a long time, you might say, oh, but there is stress. Oh, but what about code reviews? And oh, it can be stressful as well. Of course, it can be, but I'm just saying this as someone who worked in many other high-paid industries as well, namely in finance and in consulting. And compared to these other industries, software engineering is absolutely nothing. The work hours are generally very low compared to banking. It is often 9 to 5, or maybe might be a bit more than that, but it's not going to be 9 to 9 or something like that, at least not most of the time. The work environment is not nearly as high pressure as it is in a lot of these big banks, for example. Although obviously this depends on your company. I'm not saying in every possible case, I'm saying in general. We're talking in generalities here. And like we discussed, if you're able to be lazy in a kind of smart way, your actual day-to-day of doing the job can actually be quite chill, because programming has so many ways, especially now with AI, to make your job as fast, as easy and efficient as possible. Whereas with something like making slides in a bank, you don't have nearly as many options like this. You're gonna have much less meetings. I would only have really one meeting per day, usually when I was a developer, and obviously now running my own company, I don't need to have any if I don't want to. Whereas as a consultant, as a lawyer, as a banker, you are going to be in meetings all day, especially as you get slightly more senior. This is not to say that there is no stress involved at all. This is not to say that there are no downsides at all, because there's going to be stress, there's going to be downsides with every career. And generally what I've learned is that in every career, people complain about the downsides of that career. But what we really need to look at this is in context and to compare it to other careers, specifically to other careers with a similar compensation level as programming. With programming, software engineering, you can earn insane amounts of money, which means that if we want to be fair and compare apples to apples, we should compare it to other industries where you have similar earnings potential. And compared to those other industries where you have similar earnings potential, software engineering is actually extremely low stress. It is actually quite interesting, although it can be boring as well if you're working especially in a very big company that's kind of corporate. So that's maybe a downside, but generally it is much more chill compared to a lot of these other industries with similar pay. Of course, you can go to a much lower paid industry where you might have even less stress, even less work hours, things like that, but then you are earning much less. So you need to decide whether that trade-off is worth it. So to me, like, the compensation to stress ratio is the absolute highest in software engineering compared to any other industry that I have seen. So I hope that this is interesting to you. Let me know your experience down below, if these lessons match your experience or if they do not match your experience. And with that, I will see you in the next video.